Chapter 141 Ouyang Haoyue. Chapter 141 Ouyang Haoyue. In a dim study, a gray-clothed elder was so angry that two will-o'-the-wisps seemed to be burning in his eyes. He didn't die. How could he still be alive after jumping into the abyss? The gray-clothed elder growled. The two purple-masked assassins standing in front of the gray-clothed elder were trembling with fear and dared not say anything. Not only did he not die but became much stronger, the gray-clothed elder looked at the information in his hands. The information read, Jianghu Shuang went to the Clearwater stronghold in Tianyin province alone, killing all 98 copper-masked and silver-masked assassins as well as 12 golden-masked assassins. Even one purple-masked assassin was killed there. After the revenge 2 years ago, there were not many purple-masked assassins remaining in Blood Feather Tower. And now they had lost one more. It also read, the two purple-masked assassins in Clearwater stronghold joined hands to fight with Jianghu Shuang. But seconds later, one was directly killed and the other one was scared, escaping into the air and not daring to fight anymore. He fought against two enemies at a time and completely suppressed them. He has improved at such a fast pace, way too fast. If we don't stop him, Blood Feather Tower will be destroyed by him sooner or later. He must die. Don't take any chances and don't give him any chances. We have to kill him. The gray-clothed elder growled. Suddenly there was a light sound heard in the room. You have said that many times, haven't you? The door creaked open. A silver-robed young man who had long hair and a wicked face leaned against the door. He was staring at the gray-clothed elder with a strange smile. If anyone else intruded into his study like this, the gray-clothed elder would have killed them the first time, but the demonic youth was different. Not only did the demonic youth intrude into his study, he also sneered at the gray-clothed elder. However, the elder was not angry at all. Why did you come here? The gray-clothed elder asked. Though the young man hadn't reached the Yin-Yang Void Realm, his status in Blood Feather Tower was extraordinary. Even the elder had to be humble when speaking to this person. I did not want to come here. However, Master ordered me to, so I had to come, the demonic youth said. Tower Master? The gray-clothed elder was stunned. Master said that Jianghu Shuang is the target of a Scarlet Kill command, so he has to die. However, you have failed twice in a row and Blood Feather Tower paid a great price because of that. Nothing unexpected is allowed in the third assassination. Therefore I am here, the demonic youth smiled. The gray-clothed elder's face fell. He knew that Tower Master was questioning his ability because he failed to kill the target twice. What will you do? The gray-clothed elder asked. That's easy. I'll kill him openly, the demonic youth smiled and said. What? The gray-clothed elder didn't understand. Don't forget that a major event is about to happen. As a disciple of Dragon Palace, Jianghu Shuang should certainly attend it. Killing him at that time will be undoubtedly logical. Dragon Palace won't say anything no matter how much it angers them, the demonic youth said. Haha, I almost forget about that, said the gray-clothed elder, smiling as well. He was confident in the demonic youth's strength. Jianghu Shuang defeated two purple-masked assassins simultaneously. However, the demonic youth was much more terrifying. Because he was Shui Yun. Ranking first on the earthly dragon list, he was recognized as the strongest in the Yin-Yang Void Realm. 3 years ago he fiercely fought with Bailey Qin and barbarian King Qing Tsang, who ranked 2nd and 5th on the earthly dragon list respectively, outside the Imperial Palace. He fought with both of them at the same time, finally ending it in a draw. However, Shui Yun was only in the profound Gold Core realm 3 years ago. Now he had reached the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm. After raining a whole day and night, the weather finally cleared. Jianghu Shuang was flying through the air on a griffin, rushing toward Dragon Palace. Soon, a solemn and magnificent city appeared in his sight. Needless to say, it was the Imperial Palace of Tianzong Dynasty. It was crowded and busy in the Imperial Palace, so nobody noticed Jianghu Shuang when he flew over the Imperial Palace. Ah, that is. Jianghu Shuang suddenly noticed a figure in the crowd at the Imperial Palace. He changed his look a little bit, then he made the griffin land in the Imperial Palace. A bunch of warriors were gathered on a wide street of the Imperial Palace center, excitedly watching the fierce fight in front of them. Bang! A deep and low crash noise sounded. The amazing strength gathered into the blast wave and spread out, which made many warriors narrow their eyes. Following that, a strong man flew back in defeat. Haha, Sulai, is that your full strength? So weak. You want to fight with me for the Cloud Dream Ginkgo? A weak man like you must be kidding. A purple-haired man with a saber in his right hand and a milky ginkgo in his left hand. His budding laughter echoed through the entire street. The man who was just beaten back was Su Lai, a disciple of Dragon Palace. At this moment, his face was red and his breath was short. He stared at the purple-haired man coldly. And a red-robed girl stood beside him. "Brother, are you okay?" The red-robed girl was worried and asked him. "I'm fine," Su Lai shook his head and said, "but I couldn't take back the Cloud Dream Ginkgo." "Doesn't matter. Forget it," the red-robed girl said. Su Lai bitterly nodded. He was not willing to forget it. Many warriors gathered here and watched this with interest. And Jian Wushuang appeared as well, wearing a bamboo hat. Su Lai. Seeing Su Lai, Jian Wushuang smiled. Then he looked at the purple-haired man who was yelling. "That is Ouyang Haoyue?" Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Ouyang Haoyue ranked 21st on the earthly dragon list, higher than Xiao Mang whom he had fought with before. No wonder he defeated Su Lai so easily. The experts on the earthly dragon list were at the peak of the primordial gold core realm, but their strength still varied. The closer to the top, the stronger his strength, especially for those ranked in the top 20 and the top 10. Among them, each one was a monstrous expert. Ouyang Haoyue was ranked 21st, but Su Lai was ranked 94th. This was obviously a huge gap. Everyone says that there are lots of exceptional geniuses and disciples with heaven-defying talent in Dragon Palace. But it seems you are nothing more than this. Ouyang Haoyue overlooked Su Lai and sneeringly said. "Are you provoking the whole Dragon Palace?" Su Lai's eyes were dark. "So what?" Ouyang Haoyue didn't care and continued speaking. "Only Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang are ranked in top 10 on the earthly dragon list. Compared with the past disciples, you are much weaker. In this year's event, it would be pretty good if Dragon Palace could get 2 out of 15. But you, ranking 94th on the earthly dragon list, were not qualified to join it, am I right? Proud as you are just a joke." Ouyang Haoyue sneered. Unwilling to talk to Su Lai, he turned to leave. However, when he turned around, Jian Wushuang stepped out from the crowd and walked towards him. Chapter 142. My name is Jian Wushuang. Chapter 142. My name is Jian Wushuang. Ouyang Haoyue had only taken a few steps when a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. "You are Ouyang Haoyue, the 21st warrior at the earthly dragon list?" Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. Ouyang Haoyue shot a glance at Jian Wushuang in front of him. "I have wanted to join the earthly dragon list for a long time. But unfortunately, I haven't run into any of the experts on the list. How lucky I am to meet you today. Let's fight," Jian Wushuang directly said. Hearing these words, the numerous surrounding warriors burst into an uproar. He is coming for a challenge. Another one who is not afraid of death. There are so many experts on the earthly dragon list. Su Lai, who ranks 94th, is also here. Yet, instead of Su Lai, he chooses to challenge Ouyang Haoyue the 22nd. He is either a real expert or a complete idiot. Many surrounding warriors began talking. After being challenged by Jian Wushuang in front of so many people, Ouyang Haoyue looked a little gloomy. "Where are you from, idiot? Do you know nothing? Get out of my way." The cyan saber in Ouyang Haoyue's hand immediately slashed towards Jian Wushuang with towering force. A slight upturn was seen at the corners of Jian Wushuang's mouth. He immediately reached out with his right hand the moment Ouyang Haoyue swung his saber. A vast amount of earth essence was gathered into Jian Wushuang's palm, taking on a physical form as he immediately grasped the slashing cyan saber. Bang! A muffled sound was heard. The blade of that cyan saber could not even scratch the earthen glow surrounding Jian Wushuang's palm. With the saber gripped in Jian Wushuang's hand, Ouyang Haoyue could not budge it at all. What? My God! What am I seeing? Many of the surrounding warriors were stunned. How powerful was this attack from Ouyang Haoyue, who ranked 21st on the earthly dragon list? Undoubtedly, it could easily kill a warrior in the exceptional gold core realm. Yet, such a powerful saber attack was now completely held in his bare hand. It was possible if Jian Wushuang was wearing some gloves or fist covers, but there was nothing covering his hand. He simply grabbed Ouyang Haoyue's saber? What did that mean? How can this be? Ouyang Haoyue himself was astonished. Although that slash had not used his full power, it was still more than a common warrior in the exceptional gold core realm could handle. However, the man in front of him had easily grasped the blade with his bare hand. You are ranked 21st on the early dragon list, yet your strength is only this much? Still hiding his face under the bamboo hat, Jian Wushuang gave out a sneer. Go to hell. Ouyang Haoyue was enraged at Jian Wushuang's insult. A horrible current of spiritual power arose. A powerful blast of blade essence of raging fire suddenly erupted from the cyan saber, forcing back Jian Wushuang's palm. Immediately after, Ouyang Haoyue reclaimed his saber, immediately attacking again. Swoosh! The blade flash was sharp and explosive, containing a terrible fury that made the numerous warriors in the area instantly turn pale from fear. Ouyang Haoyue had put his full strength into this slash. But the result was... bang. A palm appeared in front of the saber a second time, grasping it once more. The blade essence was instantly broken and the cyan saber was trapped in Jian Wushuang's hand again. Impossible. Ouyang Haoyue was really seized with terror and fury. The first slash was wielded randomly, so it meant nothing although Jiang Wushuang could grasp it with his bare hand. But this time he had used his full strength. Yet, the result was the same, he grasped it with his bare hand. Stopping the saber with his bare hand twice in a row. What kind of strength is this? What he did not know was that Jian Wushuang had improved his sword essence comprehension immensely over the 2 years in the sword tomb. Especially the sword essence of earth. Although it had not been combined with the fiery wind sword essence, it had become the most powerful among the 4 sword essences he had comprehended. Jian Wushuang was even confident that, with only the sword essence of earth, he could easily pass the 11th floor of the Dragon Gate. Such profound comprehension in earth essence, which was good at defense, was intensely gathered in his palm. It is no surprise that Ouyang Haoyue's attack could not break it. He, the 21st warrior on the earthly dragon list, was just SOSO. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, then moved his palm a little. A vast current of the earth essence erupted and a terrifying force rushed out. At the same time, Ouyang Haoyue's cyan saber was completely bent in Jian Wushuang's hand, and then became an out-and-out twist. Casually throwing aside that cyan saber he had turned into scrap metal, Jian Wushuang grinned and then punched Ouyang Haoyue's chest. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out as Ouyang Haoyue brutally flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, immediately cracking the ground with his heavy landing. The whole street became very silent. Everybody who witnessed the scene was in shock. Jian Wushuang slowly walked towards Ouyang Haoyue, and said in a low voice, Ouyang Haoyue, with such strength, are you qualified to be the 21st on the earthly dragon list? How ridiculous. You are far weaker than Xiao Mang. What Jian Wushuang said was the truth, because he had fought against Xiao Mang. In terms of real strength, Xiao Mang was definitely much stronger than Ouyang Haoyue. But because the former had kept a low profile and rarely fought against others, his rank remained 22nd for a long time. You. Who on earth are you? Ouyang Haoyue tightly stared at Jian Wushuang. You mentioned Xiao Mang? He is a low-key person who hardly ever fights with others. His most recent fight was 2 years ago and it caused a big commotion. He fought against swordsmen who died. Before he finished the story, Ouyang Haoyue suddenly widened his eyes and then shouted with fear, You are swordsman. What? The entire street was shocked. Swordsman? The guy who turned the whole Tianzong dynasty upside down 2 years ago? Swordsman, an exceptional genius, that rarely appeared every few decades, who was listed in the Millennium Chronicle compiled by the Gladiator Arena. Everyone was familiar with the name, Swordsman. But now, Ouyang Haoyue said that this mysterious man wearing a bamboo hat in front of everyone was the same swordsman. Swordsman? Su Lai abruptly raised his head, gazing at Jian Wushuang. Everyone on the street looked over at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, who hid his face under the bamboo hat, slightly curled the corners of his mouth at this moment, and then directly threw away the bamboo hat. As he raised his head, a cold but handsome face appeared. Meanwhile, his voice, with a little arrogance, was heard echoing on the entire street. I'm not swordsman. My name is Jian Wushuang. With a sword in hand, no one is my match. Remember that. Chapter 143 Returning. Chapter 143, Returning. Jian Wushuang? He said his name is Jian Wushuang. I haven't heard that name before. With a sword in hand, no one is his match. So arrogant. He is supposed to be a swordsman, but he defeated Ouyang Haoyue without a sword. the numerous surrounding warriors were discussing. They had never heard the name Jian Wushuang name before. But, from this day forward, they would remember it. Not just them, the countless warriors in the entire Tianzong dynasty would know his name very soon. After all, he had defeated Ouyang Haoyue, who ranked 21st at the Earthly Dragon list. And it was a thorough defeat. Of course he would become famous after today. What, Jian Wushuang? You are absolutely swordsman. Ouyang Haoyue glared at Jian Wushuang. Swordsman? Su Lai, who was standing aside, looked over at Jian Wushuang with wide eyes as he shouted. His swordsman was enough to prove Jian Wushuang's identity. Swordsman? He is that swordsman who defeated Xiao Mang, killed the purple-masked assassin from Blood Feather Tower, and then jumped into the abyss 2 years ago. He jumped into the abyss and died, didn't he? How can he still be alive? Everyone at the scene was shocked. However, Jian Wushuang just slightly smiled. He did not defeat Ouyang Haoyue to become famous around the world. He just wanted to recover his name and identity. Swordsman was just an alias he had used to avoid Blood Feather Tower's pursuit. Jian Wushuang was his genuine name. At this moment, he wanted everyone to know that Swordsman had died 2 years ago and Jian Wushuang had been reborn like a phoenix. Swordsman, is it really you? Su Lai ran over. Su Lai, I haven't seen you for 2 years. How are you? Jian Wushuang replied and smiled. You did not die? Su Lai asked in surprise. Jian Wushuang shrugged, reached out towards Ouyang Haoyue and then said, hand over the Cloud Dream Ginkgo. Ouyang Haoyue's face turned gloomy, with dense unwillingness in his eyes. But he knew the strength gap between himself and Jian Wushuang. He did not dare to refuse, immediately handing the Cloud Dream Ginkgo to Jian Wushuang. Jiang Wushuang gave the Cloud Dream Ginkgo to Su Lai. I appreciate it a lot, Su Lai said gratefully. Jian Wushuang just smiled slightly. Jian Wushuang, don't be so happy. This is not over yet, Ouyang Haoyue said bitterly. Oh. Jian Wushuang looked at Ouyang Haoyue. If my guess is correct, won't you be participating in the event? Ouyang Haoyue said coldly. Event? What event? Jian Wushuang asked while looking puzzled. Stop pretending. Ouyang Haoyue sneered, you are a disciple of Dragon Palace. Of course you will take part in this event on behalf of Dragon Palace. So we'll meet again. When that happens, I will make sure to return today's humiliation to you twofold. You'll return it to me twofold? By yourself? Jian Wushuang slightly curled the corners of his mouth. Of course not from me. It will be from my big brother, Ouyang Haoyue said. Your big brother, Ouyang Haoyin? Jian Wushuang's smile grew even bigger. There was an introduction to Ouyang Haoyue's background in the Earthly Dragon list. Jian Wushuang knew that he came from the Ouyang clan, one of the 7 oldest clans in Tianzong dynasty. Ouyang Haoyue also had a big brother named Ouyang Haoyin, who ranked 6th 2 years ago but was now ranked 3rd on the Earthly Dragon list. It was said that Ouyang Haoyue had recently defeated the former 3rd rank, Mu Yingying from the Mu clan. Ranking 3rd on the Earthly Dragon list definitely demonstrate Ouyang Haoyin's strength. Then I'll be waiting, Jian Wushuang said, then slightly smiled. Just wait and see. Ouyang Haoyue coldly snorted, and then left with hatred. This Ouyang Haoyue is quite narrow-minded, Jian Wushuang said and smiled. Humph. He is a petty man but his big brother is really strong, Su Lai said seriously. Maybe. Jian Wushuang casually nodded. He did not care too much. 3rd rank on the Earthly Dragon list was really strong. But Jian Wushuang was no longer the boy from 2 years ago. Swordsman, I never thought you were still alive. Ah. This is a major event for the whole Dragon Palace. Come on. Let's go to Dragon Palace. Su Lai smiled and said, Little sister, you can head back first. Okay. The red-robed girl standing beside Su Lai nodded. Then, following Su Lai, Jian Wushuang walked toward Dragon Palace. At Dragon Palace. The moment Jian Wushuang returned, everyone in Dragon Palace was shocked. What? Oh, who has returned? Palace Master White was stunned by the news. It's Swordsman. He has returned, replied the purple-robed servant who delivered the news. Swordsman? The expression on Palace Master White's face became complicated. Jian Wushuang was the talent whom she thought most highly of. 2 years ago, when it was said that Jian Wushuang had been forced to jump into the abyss, she was the saddest one. But now Jian Wushuang had returned. Go. Bring him here quickly. Oh no. I'll go get him myself. Ah. The exceptional genius of our Dragon Palace has returned. Inside Dragon Palace. Jian Wuxiang and Su Lai slowly walked forward, side by side, surrounded by the disciples of Dragon Palace. When these disciples saw Jian Wuxiang, their expression became very weird. It really is Swordsman. It's him? He didn't die. He jumped into the abyss, didn't he? How can he still be alive? These disciples all felt it inconceivable. After all, many warriors had witnessed Jian Wuxiang jumping into the abyss. It was a fact. Jumping into the abyss definitely meant death. Even the Millennium Chronicle, compiled by the Gladiator, said that an exceptional genius had passed away. Alas, how sad. But now Jian Wuxiang had not died and he just appeared in front of everyone alive. Third brother. Third brother. A shout of awe and exultation was suddenly heard in front. Jian Wuxiang raised his head and looked over. He immediately noticed Wang Yuan rushing towards him with Yang Zixuan and Su Rou beside him. Ah, elder brother Wang Yuan. Jian Wuxiang walked towards him with a laugh. Third brother. I missed you so much. Wang Yuan directly gave Jian Wuxiang a big hug. Second brother. It's been a long time since we saw each other. Jiang Wuxiang looked towards Yang Zixuan, reaching out his fist. Welcome back. A smile appeared on Yang Zixuan's cold face as he reached out to bump fists with Jian Wuxiang. Haha, fourth sister. Jian Wuxiang then turned towards the shy Su Rou and directly gave her a hug. Su Rou did not resist, but her face turned bright red. 2 years later, the four of them had finally met again. Swordsman. A clear and cold voice was heard. After which, Palace Master White walked towards him, followed by a crowd of temple masters. It really is Swordsman. Little guy, how are you so lucky? We all thought he had died, so we took revenge on the Blood Feather Tower. No one ever expected the boy was still alive. Seeing Jian Wuxiang, the temple masters talked casually, smiling. Swordsman, follow me. Palace Master White spoke directly. Jian Wuxiang raised his brow and shot a glance at Wang Yuan and the other two. I'll go with Palace Master White first, then join you later. Okay, I'll prepare some good wine for you. Let us four siblings drink heartily and have a good time later, Wang Yuan said and then laughed. Yes. Jian Wuxiang nodded, then followed Palace Master White and left. Chapter 144 Nanyang Continent. Chapter 144 Nanyang Continent. Within the palace. The temple masters had left, but Palace Masters Black and White were sitting in front of Jian Wuxiang. Boy, what happened? How did you survive the abyss? Asked Palace Master White. It was no wonder why she was so curious. The abyss was still a mystery. No one knew what was there. However, anyone who fell into the abyss, even experts in the Yin-Yang Void Realm, would die. However, Jian Wuxiang returned alive from the abyss. I don't know. When I fainted after I jumped into the abyss. When I woke up, I found myself inside the sword tomb, Jian Wuxiang said. A sword tomb. Palace Masters Black and White looked at each other. The sword tomb was rife with sword scars. Jian Wuxiang told them most of what happened in the sword tomb, only leaving out the absolute beauty and the robust man in the ancestors' land. He told them he had accidentally entered the sword tomb. After hearing what Jian Wuxiang said, both palace masters looked astonished. You spent a full 2 years in that sword tomb. Besides the sword tomb, didn't you explore anywhere else? Palace Master White could not help asking. No, I could feel danger all around, so I did not dare to explore. Somehow, I was able to leave by entering the space rift. Then I appeared in the dark forest, Jian Wuxiang said. Space rift? Wormhole? The two palace masters stared at him with wide eyes. The wormhole was a legendary skill. Of course, it might also be a natural wormhole. It seems that there is a big secret hidden in the abyss, said Palace Master White, sighing in praise. So many experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm went to explore but never returned. Yet somehow this little guy survived. He's quite lucky. Palace Master Black also smiled. They were not very skeptical about what Jian Wuxiang said. The abyss was a dangerous place. It was normal for Jian Wuxiang to find out nothing given his current strength. Anyway, being able to return alive is already very fortunate, and you returned at a great time, Palace Master White said and laughed. A major event is about to begin. I was currently troubled by this. Now that you are back, that problem is solved. A major event? Jian Wuxiang asked. Before, in the imperial palace, Ouyang Haoyue had also mentioned it. But he had no idea what this major event was. Palace Master White. What is this major event? Jian Wushuang asked without hesitation. Have you heard about the easternmost hunt? Palace Master White beamed. The easternmost hunt? Jian Wushuang immediately shook his head. He had never heard anything about it. Well, it is a long story, so I'll explain it, Palace Master White smiled and slowly narrated. Jian Wushuang, is the Tianzong dynasty vast? Palace Master White asked. Very vast. Jian Wushuang immediately nodded. In his eyes, the Tianzong dynasty was incredibly vast. You are right, the Tianzong dynasty is very vast. Palace Master White also nodded and continued, it has a total of 16 provinces. There are many counties in these 16 provinces, so it can be said to be very vast. However, how big is the land we are on? The land? Jian Wushuang was stunned for a second and then shook his head. I tell you that this piece of land is called Nanyang Continent and it has endless territory. There are many dynasties on the Nanyang Continent. Tianzong dynasty is just one of the many dynasties on the Nanyang Continent. And just a small empire, Palace Master White said. A small empire? Jian Wushuang was slightly stunned. On the entire Nanyang Continent, the dynasties have been divided into 3 levels according to their territorial strengths. Small empires, middle-sized empires, and large empires. Palace Master White explained. Different level dynasties will have different overall strengths. Our Tianzong dynasty is only a small empire. Among the many dynasties on the Nanyang Continent, it can be said that it is an unremarkable dynasty that nobody cares about. Not far away, the territory where the Tianzong dynasty is located is in the northwest corner of the Nanyang Continent. There are a total of 11 dynasties around us. Of these 11 dynasties, there are 2 large empires, 6 middle-sized empires, and 3 other small empires. The easternmost hunt is held every 20 years. At the beginning of the easternmost hunt, the 12 dynasties in the northwest, including Tianzong dynasty, will send experts to participate. The rules stipulate that those experts can only be warriors in the Gold Core realm. Warriors in the Yinyang Void realm cannot join. Each easternmost hunt will generally attract some old sections. Old sects? Jian Wushuang asked while lifting his brow. In the Nanyang continent, there are a large number of dynasties. The real overlords and rulers of this continent are from those old sections. The dynasties are merely the vassals of these sects. Palace Master White smiled and continued. Some old sects will be taking part in the easternmost hunt, and they will also select some of the best among those who participate in the hunt. They will become core disciples instead of normal disciples. Becoming a core disciple is considered a big success. Even his dynasty will flatter them. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was completely stunned. The core disciples of those old sects have such a status? Even a dynasty has to fawn over them. Boy, there's something you need to understand, Palace Master White said seriously. There is no doubt that Dragon Palace is the holy land for cultivators in the Tianzong dynasty. But it is only true in the Tianzong dynasty. Outside the Tianzong dynasty and in the entire Nanyang continent, Dragon Palace is nothing. And those old sects are not. Jian Wushuang was surprised, but it was understandable. Although the cultivation resources in Dragon Palace were very rich, as his strength increased, Jian Wushuang gradually realized that the resources in Dragon Palace had little use for him. However, ruling the entire Nanyang continent, the old sects would have more amazing resources. So, you can imagine how fortunate it is to enter the old sects and become a core disciple. Naturally, there are countless people who are eager to enter these old sections. For the 12 dynasties in the northwest, the only chance to enter them is the easternmost hunt. Chapter 145, The Selection Battle. Chapter 145, The Selection Battle. Participate in the easternmost hunt is the only way to join the old sections. When does the easternmost hunt, begin? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, the easternmost hunting, which is held every 10 years, will start in 3 months. But for the small empires such as the Tianzong dynasty, only 15 Gold Core realm experts can participate, Palace Master White said. Only 15? Jian Wushuang frowned. A dynasty, even if it was a small one, possessed countless geniuses. In the Tianzong dynasty, there are 100 experts on the earthly dragon list. They are all geniuses. The number would be even larger if the hidden experts of the Gold Core realm are included. However, only 15 of them were able to participate in the easternmost hunt. Therefore each spot was extremely precious. Because there are too few spots before the easternmost hunt, our Qinzong dynasty will select the 15 strongest experts to participate in it. And this selection is called the quota battle. Palace Master Black said. Though it is just a selection battle inside the Qinzong dynasty, it will still be very cruel. As the holy place for cultivators in Qinzong dynasty, we can elect 10 people to participate in this quota battle. But in the end, how many of them can obtain a spot is unknown. Jian Wushuang nodded secretly. Only 15 spots, even if it was in Dragon Palace, which was known for being full of exceptional geniuses, the available number of spots was also limited. Among the disciples of Dragon Palace, Bailey Qin and Qing Tsang are ranked 2nd and 6th on the earthly dragon list. Both of them have a good chance. However, they can only take 2 spots. In the previous selection battle, Dragon Palace took at least 4 or 5 out of the 15 spots. But this time the disciples of Dragon Palace, compared to the previously, are weaker overall, so our expectations are lower. But we want to get at least 3 spots. In addition to Bailey Qin and Qing Tsang, we need one more person to secure a spot, Palace Master White said seriously. You want me to participate in the selection battle and get a spot for Dragon Palace? Jian Wushuang looked questioningly at both Palace Master Black and Palace Master White. Yes. Palace Master White nodded. 2 years ago you defeated Xiao Mang, who ranked 22nd on the earthly dragon list. Besides, your talent is well known, and in these 2 years your strength must have greatly improved. It's very likely that you can obtain a spot. But it is not just for Dragon Palace. You are also participating in the selection battle for yourself. I know your true identity. Jian Wushuang, the target of a Scarlet Kill command from Blood Feather Tower, which means that they will kill you at all costs. So 2 years ago, despite the revenge from Dragon Palace, the Blood Feather Tower was still determined to kill you. There is no buffer between you and Blood Feather Tower. It won't stop until one of you dies. To be honest, your current strength is still too weak to take on Blood Feather Tower. I understand. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. So what you need the most now is time, Palace Master White said and smiled. You are talented, so if you are given enough time to grow, there is a huge possibility that you will obliterate Blood Feather Tower in the future. But Blood Feather Tower won't give you time. They will take every chance to assassinate you. Though I will give you shelter, unless you are hiding in Dragon Palace, it will be difficult to really ensure your safety. If you can, stand out in the easternmost hunt and draw the attention of those old sections. Once you become a core disciple of those old sects, they won't dare touch you. Palace Master Black also nodded and said, the old sects are powerful and capable of destroying Blood Feather Tower with ease. Therefore, if you become a core disciple of an old sect, Blood Feather Tower won't dare to kill you, at least on the surface. And you can take advantage of the shelter from the old sect to improve your strength. Finally, when your strength has increased to a certain level, you can fight back against Blood Feather Tower. I see. Jian Wushuang laughed. He also agreed with the 2 palace masters. Indeed, if he could get a spot and participate in the easternmost hunt, then joined one old sect, he could appear openly in front of Blood Feather Tower. The cultivation resources in the old sects were also better than those in Dragon Palace. Trust me. I will attend the selection battle. Though I am not absolutely sure I can get a spot, I will do my best, Jian Wushuang said. Haha, I knew you would agree. Only a fool wouldn't agree, Palace Master White said and laughed. Okay, here's a gift. Palace Master White turned her hand over and gave Jian Wushuang a thick book. This is... Jian Wushuang looked at this book strangely. After opening it, his look immediately changed. Formless Sword Art, the last 3 moves. Yes, that is the last 3 moves of the Formless Sword Art, Palace Master White laughed and said, actually 2 years ago when you passed the 11th level of the Dragon Gate, both of us and those temple masters discussed and agreed to give it to you. But we failed to do that because of what happened. Now that you have returned, it's yours. But the last 3 moves of the Formless Sword Art are not available in the secret pavilion? Jian Wushuang felt it was strange. Haha, you are really stupid. Do you think that the secret pavilion is simple? Palace Master White said and grinned. Jian Wushuang was confused. There are actually 2 secret pavilions in Dragon Palace, a big one and a small one. You often go to the big one. Though there are many treasures, It's only suitable for the warriors in the Gold Core realm and the Spiritual Sea realm. However, the small one is only available to Palace Masters and Temple Masters of Dragon Palace. Though there are few treasures, they are more precious. Like the last 3 moves of the Formless Sword Art, which were not in the big secret pavilion, only in the small secret pavilion. So, are you surprised? Palace Master White asked while beaming. Yeah. Jian Wushuang laughed. The Formless Sword Art was known as the top sword skill in Qianzong Dynasty. It was incredibly powerful. After the experience in the Ancestors' Land, Jian Wushuang's field of vision had increased. Not to mention he also had the Selfless Sword Technique, which was better than the Formless Sword Art. However, Jian Wushuang still looked forward to studying the last 3 moves of the Formless Sword Art. Chapter 146, Gathering of the Brothers. Chapter 146, Gathering of the Brothers. The Formless Sword Art has 9 sword skills, and each one is stronger than the previous one. What level of power will the last 3 sword skills reach? Jian Wushuang was looking forward to the results. Well, you should prepare for the selection battle being held in 1 month. Of course, before this battle, Dragon Palace will hold its own competition and choose 10 people to participate in the selection battle. All the elders of Dragon Palace will return, so you will have a chance to meet them, said Palace Master White. Elders? Jian Wushuang asked while smiling slightly. He already knew the elders from Dragon Palace. Although they did not stay in Dragon Palace during ordinary times, all of them were famous in Qianzong Dynasty. 15 of them were on the Earthly Dragon list. For Jian Wushuang to participate in the easternmost hunt, he had to go through 3 rounds or competition. The first round was the selection within Dragon Palace. After all, Dragon Palace only had 10 recommendations, but there were many old and new disciples that wanted to participate in this hunt, so it was inevitable that Jian Wushuang would take part in this competition. The second round was the selection in Qianzong Dynasty. All the top talents in Qianzong Dynasty would take part in it. The third and final round was the beginning of the real easternmost hunt. In that round, the 12 northwestern dynasties would all compete against each other. Inside the manor. Come on, let's toast third brother's resurrection. Wang Yuan laughed happily and picked up a glass directly. How could you call it a resurrection? I was alive the whole time. Jian Wushuang rolled his eyes, but he still drank the wine in his glass. Third brother, you never knew that after hearing the news of your death 2 years ago, I was in pain for a long time. So you owe me another glass, Wang Yuan said. Very well. Jian Wushuang smiled and drank with Yang Zishuan and Su Rou by his side. Jian Wushuang was really happy to see these 3 siblings again after 2 years. By the way, you should be careful when dealing with that Blood Feather Tower who chased you, because there is something unusual about them, Wang Yuan said with profound meaning. Something about them is weird. Su Rou nodded her head deeply. Yes, I know. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. He never looked down upon Blood Feather Tower. Come on, let's drink. Third brother, you should give a toast to second brother. In these 2 years when you were missing, in order to get revenge for you, second brother targeted Blood Feather Tower and used them to practice his swordsmanship. In those 2 years of slaughter, numerous assassins of Blood Feather Tower died by his hands, Wang Yuan said with a smile. I do need to give a toast to second brother. Come on, second brother. Jian Wushuang immediately gave him a toast. In these 2 years, Wang Yuan's strength did not seem to have grown, but the strength of both Yang Zishuan and Su Rou had greatly improved. Previously they had reached the profound Gold Core realm. But now they had stepped into the exceptional Gold Core realm. Especially Yang Zishuan, his cultivation was definitely at the peak of the exceptional Gold Core realm. Yang Zishuan's comprehension towards essence was rather high. When he and Jian Wushuang entered the Dragon Palace, he had directly passed the 8th level of the Dragon Gate. After such a long time, his comprehension must have reached a higher level. Combined with his cultivation, Yang Zishuan's overall strength should be very terrifying. Second brother is sitting in front of me. Although he deliberately restrained his breath, I feel that his strength is greater than Ouyang Haoyue's. Jian Wushuang thought in his heart. As for Su Rou, her cultivation had also improved, but Jian Wushuang had no idea how strong she was. After all, Su Rou was mysterious. 2 years ago at Quiet Moon Lake, Su Rou had released a terrifying aura and then pushed back a purple-masked assassin. Do you know about the event that is going to be held in 3 months? Yang Zishuan suddenly asked. You mean the easternmost hunt? Ah, of course I know, Wang Yuan said and laughed. I've just heard about it from Palace Master White, Jian Wushuang said with a smile on his face. Su Ro was still as shy as before and said nothing. Third brother, you will participate in this event, won't you? Yang Zishuan asked him. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded and said, and you? I will definitely participate. I will join both the selection battle in 1 month and the easternmost hunt in 3 months, Yang Zishuan said coldly. Oh, pretty confident. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and then looked at Su Ro and said, how about you? Su Ro muttered for a while and then nodded her head and said, I will do my best. Haha, all I can do is to wish for you 3 to succeed in the hunt. It's a pity that my strength is not strong enough, or the 4 of us could join the easternmost hunt and show our power to the experts of large empires. Just thinking about that makes me excited, Wang Yuan said with emotion. It's still too early to say that. It will be difficult to get one of the 10 recommendations from Dragon Palace, let alone one of the 15 places in the selection battle 1 month later. As far as I know, the elders of Dragon Palace will come back to help win more spots in this hunt. Their strength is extraordinary and 15 of them are on the earthly dragon list, said Jian Wushuang. Of those elders only Bailey Qin, who is ranked 2nd, and Qing Tsang, who is ranked 6th on the earthly dragon list, are worth worrying about. There is nothing to fear from the others, Yang Zishuan said in a cold voice. That's really crazy, Jian Wushuang said and chuckled, but a real smile emerged from his heart. The 4 siblings gathered together and talked for a long time, not dispersing until the evening. Third brother, I have prepared a gift for you. Can I show it to you? Wang Yuan held Jian Wushuang's shoulders and said with a mysterious smile on his face. Gift. Jian Wushuang wiped his nose and said, of course, let me see the gift. Lead the way. Okay, Wang Yuan answered. Then he led Jian Wushuang to leave the Dragon Palace and go to the Imperial Palace. Wang Yuan and Jian Wushuang came to a seemingly ordinary shop in the Imperial Palace. Under the guidance of an attendant, they entered the cellar and then stepped into a secret chamber. 2 purple-robed guards were standing in front of the secret chamber's door. Jian Wushuang's face suddenly changed when he saw these 2 guards. Yinyang Void Realm? Jian Wushuang's eyes were full of astonishment. He could obviously detect that the 2 guards in front of him were experts at the peak of the Yinyang Void Realm. Experts of the Yinyang Void Realm, guarding the door to a secret chamber. What was going on here? Brother Yuan, this is... Jian Wushuang involuntarily asked. Haha, don't ask so much. Later you will know everything. Come with me. Wang Yuan waved his hand, and then the 2 guards immediately opened the door. Wang Yuan and Jian Wushuang walked into the secret chamber, one after the other. This secret chamber was actually a totally enclosed dungeon. There was only a tiny amount of candlelight, so this dungeon was very dark. As soon as Jian Wushuang stepped into the dungeon, he saw a body in the center of the room, tied to a burning iron prop by a black iron chain. The body was covered in scars. Some of them were caused by a knife, while some were worm bites. The scars were terrifying to look at. Chapter 147 New Rankings of the Earthly Dragon List. Chapter 147 New Rankings of the Earthly Dragon List. This is Lin Yun? Jian Wushuang looked at the gruesomely tortured body lying in front of him with astonishment. Wasn't it the purple-masked assassin Lin Yun, who chased him so hard that he had to jump into the abyss 2 years ago? Yes, it's him, Wang Yuan answered and smiled. How did you get him here? Jian Wushuang asked. Haha, I have my ways. Wang Yuan grinned but didn't explain much. Jian Wushuang's expression turned odd. He always thought Wang Yuan was special. In terms of talent, Wang Yuan, who only passed the 3rd floor of the Dragon Gate, was at the bottom of the many disciples in Dragon Palace. There was nothing extraordinary and no hint of him being a genius. Normally, a man like him could not get into Dragon Palace, not to mention staying there for so long. However, even with his unimpressive performance, Wang Yuan still remained in Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang refused to believe that there was not something fishy about it. Now, it was clear that Wang Yuan had an unusual identity, since he could bring Lin Yun here and torture him secretly without alerting Bloodfeather Tower. Is he a child of one of the 7 top clans? But there's no Wang among the 7 top clans in Qianzong dynasty. And even though those top clans are formidable, having an expert in the Yinyang Void Realm guard the gate is still absurd, Jian Wushuang thought. Third brother Lin Yun is my gift to you. How do you plan to deal with him? Wang Yuan said with a smile. Just kill him, Jian Wushuang answered. Do you want to do it yourself? Wang Yuan asked. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded, then he slowly stepped forward. Lin Yun was tied to a red-hot iron pillar. Sensing someone coming, Lin Yun struggled to lift his head, but his eyes widened with fear when he saw Jian Wushuang standing in front of him. Impossible. How could it be possible? Lin Yun couldn't stop growling. You are not dead? How can you still be alive? Sorry to let you down. Jian Wushuang wore a faint smile, then leaned forward beside Lin Yun's ears and whispered, Do you remember what I said at the abyss? Lin Yun was stunned for a second. Since I survived, Blood Feather Tower will be in trouble. But you are not the first purple-masked assassin I have killed. Lucky for you. I have already killed one at the Clearwater stronghold in Tianyin province. You are the second. After finishing his words, Jian Wushuang grabbed Lin Yun's throat and squeezed it, crushing his throat in an instant. Lin Yun, the purple-masked assassin of Blood Feather Tower, and well-known governor of the Blizzard City, died on the spot. Yuan, thank you so much, Jian Wushuang said. Haha, you don't need to be so polite with your brother. Let's go, Wang Yuan laughed and said. They immediately returned to Dragon Palace. During the following days, Jian Wushuang started to dig into the last 3 moves of the formless sword art. He became ecstatic immediately after gaining some understanding of the last 3 moves. Haha, I never thought that the last 3 moves required the use of 2 sword essences simultaneously, and those 2 sword essences just so happened to be the sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire. Jian Wushuang was overwhelmed by this huge surprise. The formless sword art had always emphasized the sword essence of Gale. The deeper the comprehension of the sword essence of Gale, the stronger the power would be when one demonstrated this sword art. But he never expected the last 3 sword moves would require an understanding of both sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire. Only by combining the 2 sword essences could one demonstrate the 3 moves. The 7th move of the formless sword art could only be displayed by someone who had good comprehension in both Gale and Raging Fire. But combining them was not necessary. The 8th move, however, required the 2 sword essences to be combined into the Fiery Wind sword essence. As for the last and the strongest 9th move, it demanded an extremely deep comprehension of the Fiery Wind sword essence. Now that I've combined the sword essences of Gale and Raging Fire into the Fiery Wind sword essence, I can definitely demonstrate the 8th move of the formless sword art. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with excitement. He had been missing a sword skill that could fully exert the Fiery Wind sword essence ever since he combined the 2 sword essences. Although he had the selfless sword technique, it had an incredibly high prerequisite. Plus, it needed 4 sword essences instead of 2. The selfless sword technique could not be fully activated if he only combined 2 sword essences. But the formless sword art was different. It happened to aim for people who were mastering the Fiery Wind sword essence, so it was the most suitable sword skill for him to exert his full power. Without hesitation, Jian Wushuang started to meditate on the 7th and 8th sword moves of the formless sword art. 7 days passed quickly. During these 7 days, many warriors who had trained in Dragon Palace had returned from their travels for self-training. In addition, the Earthly Dragon list had updated its rankings during these days. While the new rankings evoked quite a stir in Tianzong Dynasty. The rankings list was as follows. Rank 1 Shui Yun. Rank 2 Bailey Chen. Rank 3 Ouyang Haotian. Rank 4 Mu Yingying. Rank 5 Feng Yutian. There were no alterations from the 1st place to the 9th place, only the 10th place. Rank 10 Jian Wushuang. It surely attracted a lot of attention when a new name barged in the rankings of the Earthly Dragon list, claiming the 10th place. And the description of him was as follows. Jian Wushuang, a disciple of Dragon Palace with cultivation in the profound Gold Core realm, had used the alias Swordsman and defeated Xiao Meng, who ranked 22th on the Earthly Dragon list at the Quiet Moon Lake 2 years ago, then jumped into the abyss while being pursued by Blood Feather Tower. 2 years later, he returned and fought with Ouyang Haoyue inside the Imperial Palace. He blocked Ouyang Haoyue's full-strength blade attack with only his bare hands, easily overpowering him and winning the fight. The Millennium Chronicle of the Gladiator Arena recorded Jian Wushuang as an exceptional genius rarely seen for decades. After evaluating his talents and the brilliant battle record from 2 years ago, we, the Golden Dragon Palace, affirm that he is now capable of being ranked in the top 10 of the Earthly Dragon list. The description was not long or short. but it explained very clearly why Jian Wushuang was among the top 10. Of course, the description stirred up a great number of disputes. They ranked him at 10th place without any battle results, only because on his talents and the fact he easily suppressed Ouyang Haoyue? That's way too arbitrary. Chapter 148 Doubts. Chapter 148 Doubts. Ridiculous. So ridiculous. How could he rank 10th with that? Every top 10 experts in the Earthly Dragon list earned their ranking with publicly accepted battle results. What about Jian Wushuang? Because he defeated Ouyang Haoyue easily, or because of his talents? You must be kidding me. Taking on the blade attack of Ouyang Haoyue with his bare hands and holding the edge is not too hard. Warriors who have mastered and materialized Earth Essence with good defense can definitely confront an enemy's weapon. It's not a big deal. Exactly. Beating Ouyang Haoyue easily could only get him into the top 20 of the Earthly Dragon list, or even the top 15. No one would say anything about that. But top 10 is far too much. When did Golden Dragon Palace become so perfunctory about the rankings of the Earthly Dragon list? How dare they put him in the 10th place without convincing battle results? A chorus of doubts. The Earthly Dragon list's written description of Jian Wushuang was not enough to convince the experts in Tianzong Dynasty. After all, Jian Wushuang did not have any open battle results that could be proud of. Defeating Xiaomeng? Beating Ouyang Haoyue? Neither could prove that he was eligible to be ranked 10th. However, Jian Wushuang didn't care a bit about how the outside world discredited him. He had been delving into the formless sword art and finally managed to barely grasp the 7th move after 7 days. While the 8th move was still at the learning stage. Second brother, third brother, fourth sister. Wang Yuan called out for his siblings. Wang Yuan's voice echoed throughout the whole manor, and soon the 4 siblings gathered together. Palace Master White asked me to tell you that those seniors of Dragon Palace have already arrived. Today, 10 people will be delegated to participate in the selection battle. She wants you guys to go there now, said Wang Yuan. They have already arrived? Jian Wushuang asked with a twist of his mouth. The seniors of Dragon Palace? A piercingly cold light appeared in Yang Zishuan's eyes. Let's go and meet these seniors, Jian Wushuang said and laughed. After which, the 4 headed to the martial arts practice field. A sea of people were crammed together at the huge martial arts practice field of Dragon Palace. A large number of disciples had come here, while several figures with majestic auras stood tall at the center of the crowds. Some of these figures were as fierce as a flame, while some were calm as a mountain, and some were matchlessly ferocious. It could be seen at first glance that they had all reached the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. These were the seniors of Dragon Palace, who had been traveling to temper themselves. There were 30 people and 15 of them were on the Earthly Dragon list excluding Su Lai. That Su Changkong ranked 44th on the Earthly Dragon list. I know him. When I was traveling last year, I witnessed him killing 4 warriors in the exceptional gold core realm with a single stroke of his axe. That's Gu He, ranked 53rd on the Earthly Dragon list. Is that Lu Qing the Blood Pikeman? So many experts. Are they all seniors of Dragon Palace? Many disciples stared at these figures as their hearts pounded with excitement. Any one of those seniors was widely known in the Tianzong Dynasty, and they all came from Dragon Palace. Among those seniors, 2 figures were the most noticeable. One was a savage man with messy hair and an unshaven face. The other was a scarlet-robed young man, who was dapper in appearance but had an aura of apathy. He wore a pair of bloody gloves which were covered with mysterious cracks that looked like hideous outstretched blood vessels. These 2 people had already become legends in the Tianzong Dynasty. Barbarian King Qing Tsong. Demon Hand Bailey Chen. Both of them were senior disciples of Dragon Palace. One was previously ranked 5th on the Earthly Dragon list, but was now ranked 6th due to the rise of Ouyang Haoyue. While the other one had occupied the 2nd rank on the Earthly Dragon list, and had even ranked 1st before Shui Yun from Blood Feather Tower had appeared. At this moment, Jian Wushuang and his 3 siblings arrived here as well as Su Lai. Oh look, the freshmen are here. The seniors looked over immediately and fixed their eyes on Jian Wushuang. Is he Jian Wushuang? I heard that he is only 19 years old. He's quite excellent to rank 10th at such a young age. 10th place? Is a little brat like him qualified to rank 10th? The seniors were also discussing this with each other. Su Lai, did you hear that? These seniors only care about my third brother. No one is paying attention to you, the 94th rank on the earthly dragon list. Wang Yuan spoke freely and smiled. Your third brother is famous. I can do nothing about that, Su Lai said with a resigned tone. If the current Dragon Palace was divided into two camps, the seniors and the freshmen, then Su Lai also belonged to the freshmen. Among the freshmen, only he and Jian Wushuang were included in the earthly dragon list, so they were naturally the leaders. Unfortunately, unlike Jian Wushuang, he received no attention from the seniors. As for Bai Cheng, who was once famous among the freshmen, he left Dragon Palace and disappeared 2 years ago. Are they Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang? Jian Wushuang asked, looking right at the two most conspicuous people among the seniors. The scarlet-robed youth and the barbarian. They were the only people who were really qualified to draw his attention among the seniors. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Several figures appeared on the martial arts practice field at the same time. It was the palace masters and the temple masters. It looks like everybody is here, Palace Master White's gentle voice spread out. This selection battle is the same as the previous ones. Dragon Palace can recommend 10 disciples to join the competition. Those 10 people will be chosen from among all of you. It depends on nothing else but your strength. Anyone who is strong enough can get a recommendation. In addition, among you, Bailey Chen, Qing Tsang, Jian Wushuang. Palace Master White mentioned these names. Jian Wushuang and the other two who were called immediately looked at her. Since you three are all ranked in the top 10 of the earthly dragon list, you don't need to compete. You will automatically receive a recommendation for the selection battle, said Palace Master White. Hearing these words, the audience burst out in an uproar. The seniors were also in turmoil. There were only 10 spots and now 3 of them were gone. Among the 3 recommendations, Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang would obviously get one since their strength had been proven long ago. It was undisputable. But how could Jian Wushuang skip the competition and get recommended automatically? The seniors of Dragon Palace had doubts about this. Since there were doubts, there were also disagreements. One person stood out instantly. Palace Master, I don't think it's fair. A powerful voice rose over the entire martial arts practice field. Chapter 149, 3 Sword Moves. Chapter 149, 3 Sword Moves. All the people in the martial arts practice field looked towards the spot where they heard that voice. A stout man with bronze skin stood there, with his hands folded and a battle axe on his back. His body radiated an irritable aura and anger was burning in his eyes at this moment. It's him? Luoang. Ranked 14th on the earthly dragon list. Many disciples and seniors were watching this with great interest. Jian Wushuang looked at the stout man and recognized him immediately. Among the seniors of Dragon Palace, Luoang, ranking 14th on the earthly dragon list. He was at the top of the list if you didn't count Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang. It's no wonder he would speak out against Jian Wushuang. Luoang, what are you dissatisfied about? Palace Master White asked and frowned. Palace Master White, I agree with what you said about striving for the 10 recommendations with our strength. But you gave 3 recommendations directly without going through the competition. Luoang said in a low voice. I have nothing to say about Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang as their strengths are universally acknowledged. But Jian Wushuang is a young and inexperienced kid who has only defeated Ouyang Haoyue and ranked 10th on the earthly dragon list because of good luck. It won't be convincing if he automatically gets a recommendation. Then what do you want to do? Palace Master White asked with squinting eyes. It's very simple. Let him have a front-to-back battle with me. If he can beat me, I will say nothing, Luoang said directly. What he said caused intense excitement. Jian Wushuang touched his nose unintentionally and smiled inside his heart. I'm afraid that Luoang is not unconvinced about the recommendation I got but my 10th rank on the earthly dragon list. Jian Wushuang had predicted that it would cause resentment and doubts after he ranked 10th on the earthly dragon list, especially by the experts who ranked 11th to 20th as they would not believe their strength was weaker than his. And Luoang, who ranked 14th on the earthly dragon list, was among them. Jian Wushuang, what do you think? Palace Master White looked at Jian Wushuang and asked. Since he is doubtful about my strength and wants to fight with me, then let's fight, Jian Wushuang answered, accepting it directly. Well then you two have a fair fight. But remember to stop where you should, said Palace Master White. Both Jian Wushuang and Luoang nodded their heads, and all the disciples around them began to back away. Third brother, are you sure? Wang Yuan asked and frowned. Rest assured, Jian Wushuang answered, then smiled. Your third brother possesses great strength, so it won't be a problem for him to defeat Luoang, said Su Lai. He had witnessed how Jian Wushuang defeated Ouyang Haoyue. Naturally, he was more sure about Jian Wushuang's strength. No one else had witnessed that battle, so they had no idea about how wide the gap between Ouyang Haoyue and Jian Wushuang was. Of course they would doubt Jian Wushuang's ranking. But Su Lai, who had witnessed the scene, had no doubt. He even believed that Jian Wushuang should rank higher. Boy, though the Golden Dragon Palace put you in the 10th place on the Earthly Dragon list, don't take it seriously. Sometimes the Golden Dragon Palace makes mistakes. Today I will let you know that it's not a big deal to defeat Ouyang Haoyue. Luoang stood in front of Jian Wushuang while speaking coldly. Perhaps, but I don't have so much nonsense to say. Just as Jian Wushuang finished speaking, a figure had already dashed out. While radiating sword essence of earth, Jian Wushuang lifted the triple kill sword and rushed forward as well. A terrifying power instantly gathered and a mighty sword shadow raged. The 11th move of the formless sword wave. As the sword shadow rushed out, the surrounding disciples of Dragon Palace all felt dazed by its vast power. The first and second volume of the formless sword wave only contained 14 moves, and Jian Wushuang was able to display the 11th move easily. How deep was his comprehension in the sword essence of earth? With this move he could easily pass through the 11th layer of the Dragon Gate. What's more, he said to perceive the earth, gale and raging fire essences at the same time, said someone in the area. While watching this vast sword shadow approach, Luoang sneered. You are a warrior in the profound gold core realm. Even daring to actually fight against me, do you want to die? The battle axe behind Luoang also appeared in his hands. He lifted it up and then slashed it down. It was extremely domineering and seemed like it could break a mountain. The power of the exception gold core realm was perfectly displayed. After that, the two collided. Bang! After that loud noise, Luoang's expression suddenly changed. He discovered that the power of the vast sword shadow Jian Wushuang displayed was not weaker than the power from his giant axe. Not only that, it was actually stronger. During the confrontation, the axe shadow he displayed was defeated. How can he, a warrior in the profound gold core realm, possess such strength? Luoang had no time to show his shock as Jian Wushuang attacked him with another sword move. This move was very fierce and rapid. It was obviously the sword skill of blood and fire, with a power that was greater than the sword essence of earth that was displayed a moment ago. Luoang immediately fought back with the battle axe, but when the battle axe collided with the sword shadow, it was blasted away. Luoang's body was also instantly knocked back at that moment. Suddenly, there was a streak of light in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Formless sword art. 7th move. Zijiu. A cold sword light appeared at that moment, and the surrounding world seemed to become completely dark. In the darkness there was only the sword light. This sword light passed by Luoang at an astonishing speed. Luoang had no time to react. By the time he regained his balance, Jian Wushuang was already standing behind him, sheathing the triple kill sword. At the same time, Luoang noticed a few hairs near his ear were falling down. Luoang was stunned. Not only him, many of the surrounding disciples and even the seniors were all stunned. He had been defeated. Luoang was defeated. And it was an extremely miserable defeat. 3 sword moves? Yes, Jian Wushuang used a total of 3 moves. That was all it took. Luoang was defeated. What was worse, if Jian Wushuang had not shown mercy, he would have died under those 3 sword moves. The gap was too wide. Oh, it seems that this little guy's strength is even greater than we expected. Palace Master White was not surprised at all. Instead, she turned to speak with the temple masters behind her. Indeed, we all knew he would have no problem defeating Luoang. But we did not expect him to defeat Luoang with only 3 sword moves. 10th rank might still be a little low. Chapter 150 Bailey Chen. Chapter 150, Bailey Chen. His rank was underestimated. He is strong enough to rank in the top 5. Stupid Luoang. Does he really think there is something wrong with the ranking decided by Golden Dragon Palace? Those temple masters were talking and laughing. Many people doubted Jian Wushuang's strength and disputed whether he was qualified to rank 10th on the Earthly Dragon list. However, those temple masters of Dragon Palace never doubted it. The rank of the earthly dragon list was actually decided by Golden Dragon Palace. When evaluating Jian Wushuang's rank, those temple masters who are seniors in Golden Dragon Palace conferred about it and judged that he was qualified to rank in the top 10. Not long ago, one of Blood Feather Tower's strongholds in Tianyin province was destroyed. Hundreds of assassins were slaughtered, including over 10 gold-masked assassins and 1 purple-masked assassin. Another purple-masked assassin only managed to live by fleeing. Palace Master White talked about it slowly. According to the news from Golden Dragon Palace, it was done by only one person. And he was just a warrior in the primordial gold core realm. After hearing about it, I think it was done by Jian Wushuang. After all, when it occurred, he happened to be in Tianyin province. I don't think I need to mention the hatred he feels towards Blood Feather Tower. In the whole Tianzong dynasty, he is the only warrior in the primordial gold core realm that would seek revenge against Blood Feather Tower in such a crazy manner. But nobody witnessed how he killed so many assassins and the purple-masked assassin in that battle at the stronghold. It remains unknown whether he used some special skills or his own strength. Thus, we ranked him 10th in the earthly dragon list. If he did it by his own strength, killing so many assassins and a purple-masked assassin alone, he deserves to be ranked in the top 5 of the earthly dragon list. Now, it seems like he really did kill those assassins with his own strength, Palace Master Black said with a smile. Exactly. Palace Master White and other temple masters all nodded slightly. The martial arts practice field was silent. After sheathing his long sword, Jian Wushuang slowly turned and walked toward Wang Yuan and the others. When he passed by Luoang, he stopped to glance at Luoang and asked him in a cold voice, "Are you convinced now?" Luoang's heart trembled slightly. Convinced? How could he not be convinced? He was defeated by Jian Wushuang in 3 moves. If Jian Wushuang had not shown mercy, he would have been instantly killed by Jian Wushuang. How could he dare to not be convinced by such strength? Luoang turned red and began trembling at this moment. Now, is anyone else dissatisfied with the results? Palace Master White said while looking around. Suddenly, nobody dared to say anything. This world operated under a simple principle. Whoever is strongest makes the rules. Before, Jian Wushuang had no recognized battle results, so he was unable to convince them. But now, no one doubted Jian Wushuang's rank on the earthly dragon list. After all, he defeated Luoang with only 3 moves. Naturally, no one dared to say anything. But at this moment, clap, clap, clap. Applause sounded. As everyone looked at him, the handsome scarlet robe youth slowly walked forward. After the scarlet robe youth stepped forward, there was some turmoil on the field. The scarlet robe youth was Bailey Qin, an exceptional genius ranked 2nd on the earthly dragon list. Jian Wushuang also looked over at him while squinting slightly. Bailey Qin, do you have a complaint? Palace Master White looked at Bailey Qin and asked him while frowning. No. It's just rare to meet such an exceptional genius. I want to compete with you. Looking at Jian Wushuang, Bailey Qin smiled and said to him, "Even I might not be able to defeat Luoang in 3 moves. And I think you didn't use all your strength, did you? I'm really curious what level your strength is really at. Shall we have a competition? With you?" Jian Wushuang slightly changed his expression and then said with a smile, "For what? Just to see who's stronger? That's boring. How about we both go through the heavenly palace? We can see who makes it the farthest," Bailey Qin said and smiled. Go through the heavenly palace? Jian Wushuang touched his nose and then nodded. Okay. Hearing his answer, Bailey Chen's mouth curled upward. The disciples in the area were having a heated discussion at that moment. Go through the heavenly palace. Are Jian Wushuang and Bailey Chen going through the heavenly palace? Are they having a competition? Both the normal disciples and the seniors were shocked. One of them was famous, ranking 2nd on the earthly dragon list for a long time. Not only that, he was unquestionably the top expert in Dragon Palace. Although the other had been famous for a shorter period of time, he had made it to this point at a rapid pace. He was already a legend, Jian Wushuang. Were they having a competition? Let's start, Bailey Chen suggested. All right. Jian Wushuang nodded. They immediately went to the heavenly palace, while those disciples of the Dragon Palace followed them without any hesitation. The 2 palace masters and those temple masters were talking and laughing. Are they having a competition now? Good. Where there is competition, there is improvement. To be honest, although both of them are in the gold core realm, I'm still eager to watch them compete. So am I. Let's go and have a look. Let's go and find out who is the strongest. They talked and laughed while walking toward the Heavenly Palace. The Dragon Gate and the Heavenly Palace were the two major trials in Dragon Palace. The Dragon Gate specialized in testing their comprehension of essences. Thus, more people chose to go through it. But, unlike the Dragon Gate, the Heavenly Palace tested overall strength. Almost no disciple went through it during ordinary times. Generally, disciples of Dragon Palace who reached a certain level and were going to travel outside alone would give it a try. The seniors who just returned had already gone through the Heavenly Palace and met the requirements needed to leave Dragon Palace. The Dragon Gate was a huge pavilion standing inside Dragon Palace. But the Heavenly Palace was a corridor in a vast underground area. It was a large corridor lined with flaming torches on both sides that lit up the whole area. Jian Wushuang and Bailey Qin stood at the edge of the corridor and looked forward. In the corridor, there were many man-shaped shadows standing in the distance. Obviously, those lifeless shadows were humanoid puppets. Jian Wushuang had dealt with humanoid puppets before in the trial tower of Sword Marquee Mansion. They guarded this area. But compared with humanoid puppets in the trial tower, the puppets in front of them were much stronger. These humanoid puppets were called battle minions of the Heavenly Palace, and they were the main part of the trial of the Heavenly Palace. Chapter 151, Go Through the Heavenly Palace. Chapter 151, Go Through the Heavenly Palace. At the very edge of the corridor, Jian Wushuang was standing side by side with Bailey Qin, followed by a large group of disciples behind them. Unlike the Dragon Gate, the Heavenly Palace was open to the public and could be seen by everyone. Jian Wushuang, this is your first time going through the Heavenly Palace, right? Bailey Qin asked with a smile. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. I have to remind you that the trial of Heavenly Palace is very simple. Although there are some hindrances created by these puppets, just go as far as you can. And don't forget, you can't stop or retreat. Once you do, the trial will end. Got it? Bailey Qin said. Can't stop. Jian Wushuang frowned and asked, in other words, I have to keep moving forward. Yes, as long as you don't stop, you can go forward at a normal speed or even a very slow speed. Also, keep in mind that the Heavenly Palace is a total of 1 kilometer long. Bailey Qin said. 1 kilometer? Jian Wushuang suddenly changed color. In the outside world, traveling a kilometer would only take a minute. But the Heavenly Palace was filled with puppets that would try to stop him. So it was impossible for him to rush straight to the very end of the corridor. Just move forward as far as possible. Are you ready? Bailey Qin asked. Of course. Jian Wushuang nodded. Okay, let's start. Swoosh, swoosh. As soon as the sentence finished, Jian Wushuang and Bailey Qin turned into a flowing light at the same time, directly rushing toward the end of the corridor. The competition to see who could go farthest in the Heavenly Palace had started. And they both started at the same time. At the edge of the corridor, a large number of the disciples were watching with anticipation. The moment Jian Wushuang and Bailey Qin appeared in the corridor, the puppets immediately came to life and rushed towards them. Bailey Qin ranked second on the earthly dragon list. A weird light shone in Jian Wushuang's eyes. I have been steadily cultivating in the sword tomb for the last 2 years. My strength has skyrocketed, even to the point where I can kill common experts in the Yin-Yang Void realm. However, it is said that the top 10 experts on the earthly dragon list are also capable of killing warriors in the Yin-Yang Void realm. And those ranked in the top 3 are at a monstrous level. This Bailey Qin ranks second on the earthly dragon list. Between the two of us, who is stronger? Jian Wushuang looked forward to competing with Bailey Qin. When he saw 10 puppets rushing toward him, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Get out of my way. A howl of rage sounded out in an instant as the cold sword shadow swept out. With an overwhelming amount of sword essence of earth, the unbridled sword shadow instantly hit the puppets and knocked them away without even giving them a chance to touch Jian Wushuang. Without waiting, Jian Wushuang continued to attack, but 10 more puppets rushed towards him. The strength of these 10 puppets was obviously stronger than the puppets he just repulsed. The farther forward we move, the stronger these puppets will be. They will also be a greater hindrance, right? Narrowing his eyes, Jian Wushuang felt like he had a basic understanding of the trial in the Heavenly Palace. Now that he understood the situation, he would use his full power and move forward. Come on. With a growl, Jian Wushuang instantaneously released his full power. Wielding an unbridled sword shadow, he used the fiery wind sword essence to the pinnacle of his ability. The terrifying sword shadow, like a fire dragon, easily bombarded the puppets and knocked them backwards. Jian Wushuang had not been hindered at all, so he continued to rush forward, attacking the puppets in the process. On the other side, Bailey Qin also used all his strength. His palms slammed forward, one after the other, and his blood-colored gloves radiated an iridescent luster at this moment. His attacks caused even the air to tremble. Every one of his attacks was frightening. Each blow contained the combined essences of raging fire and water drop. Water and fire essence. Obviously, Bailey Qin had combined two essences as well. Bailey Qin's water and fire essence was not weaker than Jian Wushuang's fiery wind essence. Also, Bailey Qin's palm skill was extremely terrifying, frightening, and appalling. One blow after another, the puppets never even had an opportunity to touch him before being knocked back. Extremely awesome. Is that the strength of the second rank on the earthly dragon list? Extremely awesome. Bailey Qin is too strong. His every move seems to be able to destroy the heaven and earth. Although I'm an expert on the earthly dragon list, I don't think I could withstand his attacks. Jian Wushuang is so strong as well. His comprehension of fiery wind sword essence is extremely high, together with his violent, fierce, and rapid assaults. Luckily, those puppets are made of special materials that are unbreakable. Otherwise, they would have already been chopped into pieces. Both of them are very strong. What Bailey Qin said is true. When Jian Wushuang competed with Luoang just now, he did not try his best. He did not even use his fiery wind sword essence. A large number of disciples were talking about that, and each of them was very shocked. However, despite the strength possessed by both Jian Wushuang and Bailey Qin, the farther they went into the corridor, the stronger those puppets were, and the more they were hindered by them. Soon both of them began slowing down. It was starting to get quite difficult for them to move forward. Finally, bang. A puppet approached Jian Wushuang with a fierce saber attack, but Jian Wushuang used his sword to withstand it. The terrifying sword shadow instantly pierced the void, colliding with the incoming saber, immediately launching the puppet backwards. However, the power of this puppet's saber was not weak. Although it couldn't hurt Jian Wushuang, it was still enough to make him stop for an instant. That pause meant that this trial was over, so the puppets surrounding him immediately stopped. At almost the same time when Jian Wushuang stopped, Bailey Qin was also forced to stop by a puppet. In a single instant, both of them had stopped, and their trials had ended at nearly the same time. At this moment, the distance between them was less than 10 meters. One was in front and the other was slightly behind. In the outside world, a 10-meter distance was like a single step. But in the heavenly palace, it was much more complicated. Seeing this scene, the disciples at the edge of the corridor also stood up in amazement and stared at Jian Wushuang. Palace masters Black and White as well as the temple masters also watched this scene speechlessly. Only 10 meters? Only 10 meters that can be made up for with a single step. Jian Wushuang is not lucky enough. Yes, the figure that was 10 meters behind was Jian Wushuang. If as usual, getting behind was a fact. But now there seemed to have coincidence as far as the merely 10-meter distance. Chapter 152, The Peak of Profound Gold Core Realm. Chapter 152, The Peak of Profound Gold Core Realm. I lost. I did my best, but I still lost, Jian Wushuang said helplessly. He indeed did his best. Even after using fiery wind sword essence with his full power, he was still 10 meters behind. Whoosh, whoosh. Jian Wushuang returned to the edge of the corridor with Bailey Qin. A large number of disciples were staring at them excitedly. You two did an excellent job, said the Palace Master White. Bailey Qin, your strength has improved a lot compared to 3 years ago. You exaggerate, Palace Master. I was lucky to be 10 meters ahead this time. After all, this was the first time Jian Wushuang went through the Heavenly Palace. He is not quite familiar with it yet. If he tried again, I might not be his match. His strength is greater than mine, Bailey Qin said. Hearing this, the surrounding disciples were stunned. They did not expect that Bailey Qin would admit that Jian Wushuang's strength was greater than his. Everybody knew that Bailey Qin ranked second on the earthly dragon list, while Jian Wushuang, how old was he? I lost, and this is the truth. Even if we fought one more time I would still lose, Jian Wushuang smiled and said. Alright, you two are done fighting, so now it's time for the competition. There will be 7 winners selected during the competition. Let's go. Hearing what Palace Master White said, the disciples returned to martial arts practice field again, and threw themselves into the competition. The combat over the remaining 7 recommendations would be much crueler. It was a competition where everyone had to depend on their own strength. Only the 7 strongest people would be allowed to attend the selection battle. Yang Zixuan walked directly towards Luoang with a cold face. You are Luoang, right? Your recommendation chance will be mine, Yang Zixuan said coldly. How ridiculous! Being immediately enraged, Luoang threw himself into the fight with Yang Zixuan. Only a few minutes later this fierce battle ended. The result amazed nearly all the disciples of Dragon Palace. Luoang lost again. First, Jian Wushuang beat him, now Yang Zixuan was the second one who defeated him. Although Yang Zixuan was not able to defeat Luoang within 3 moves like Jian Wushuang, he had overpowered Luoang throughout the whole match without any suspense. It was obvious that Yang Zixuan's battle strength was much greater than Luoang's. The top 10, Yang Zixuan's strength is strong enough to rank in the top 10 of the earthly dragon list. We have one more powerful person. Haha, how unfortunate for Luoang. After all, he is ranking 14th on the earthly dragon list, but he was defeated by 2 people in the same today, being overpowered by both of them. Hearing the disciples' discussions, Palace Master White and the others were happy and surprised. Yang Zixuan was strong enough to be in the top 10 of the earthly dragon list, which meant that they might get one more spot in the easternmost hunt this time. So of course they were happy. Other than Yang Zixuan, there was one more excellent newcomer who caught their attention. This person was Su Ro. This lady. Her swordsmanship is so odd. She has defeated 3 seniors in a row. One of them even ranked 29th on the earthly dragon list. While the disciples were discussing this, Su Ro defeated the 4th senior. So she had a very good chance of receiving a recommendation. Among the 4 newcomers who attended the competition this time, Jian Wushuang, Yang Zixuan, Su Ro and Su Lai. Other than Su Lai, the other 3 would receive a recommendation. On behalf of Dragon Palace, they could attend the selection battle held in Qianzong Dynasty next month. Haha, you 3 are really excellent, you are definitely my siblings, Wang Yuan smiled and said proudly, especially Wushuang, you were so formidable when you competed with Bailey Qin. Everybody knows he is ranked 2nd on the earthly dragon list. But I was still defeated, said Jian Wushuang, shaking his head. He was not proud or happy at all. He thought after 2 years of earnest cultivation in the Sword Tomb that his strength would be enough to look down on the earthly dragon list. But obviously he was wrong. Even Bailey Qin, who was ranked 2nd, was so hard to defeat. Not to mention Shui Yun, who was ranked 1st. Since he was slightly weaker than Bailey Qin, how much stronger was Shui Yun? The selection battle next month will gather experts from everywhere. Shui Yun is a peerless genius that Blood Feather Tower elaborately cultivated. He will definitely attend it as well, which means he will probably fight with me. Jian Wushuang was worried and thought. 3 years ago, Bailey Qin and Qing Tsang teamed up to fight against Shui Yun, but they were only able to reach a draw. However, Shui Yun was just in the profound gold core realm at that time. Now 3 years had passed. What level was Shui Yun's strength at? Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly. If he fought with Shui Yun right now and didn't use the soul-taking secret skill, he had no confidence that he could win. There is only 1 month left before the battle. I must find a way to enhance my strength in this remaining month. A light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. After the 10 recommendations were confirmed, Jian Wushuang left the martial arts practice field and went directly to Secret Pavilion. Once there, he exchanged for plenty of first-class heavenly spirit pills. Afterwards, he devoted himself to earnest cultivation for 1 month. During that whole month, he had locked himself in the room without even stepping outside of the door. Yang Zixuan and Su Ro were also in earnest cultivation. They all knew that there was only 1 month left before the match. Any improvements during this month would increase their chance of winning in the selection battle. Wang Yuan suffered the whole month, because everyone was cultivating in isolation at the same time. So he could not find anyone to drink with. In a flash, 1 month had passed. On the bed in his room, Jian Wushuang's eyes, which were originally half closed, suddenly opened. At the same time, a foul air was exhaled from his mouth. I have swallowed 30 first-class heavenly spirit pills this month, one each day. It's such a luxury. Although a great deal of the heavenly spirit pills' efficiency was wasted, it helped my cultivation reach the peak of the profound gold core realm. Clenching his hands tightly, he could feel that his power was much stronger than 1 month ago. Jian Wushuang smiled. Earlier, in the Sword Tomb, his cultivation had already reached the profound gold core realm, only a small distance from the peak of the profound level. Plus, he had been cultivating tirelessly this month, while swallowing a large number of first-class heavenly spirit pills. It would be unreasonable if he did not reach the peak of the profound gold core realm. In addition, I finally grasped the 8th move of the formless sword art. Jian Wushuang smiled and muttered. The 7th move of the formless sword art could only be displayed by someone with a good comprehension of the Gale and Raging Fire sword essences. Combining them was unnecessary. While the 8th move required those two essences to be combined before it could be used, this move could really help Jian Wushuang raise his strength to a new level. It's a pity that I was still unable to combine 3 sword essences, even after this month of cultivation. Otherwise, I would be even more prepared, Jian Wushuang muttered in a dissatisfied tone. Chapter 153, The Selection Battle Begins. Chapter 153, The Selection Battle Begins. When the sword essences were combined, his fighting strength greatly improved. With the Fiery Wind sword essence, formed via the combination of Gale and Raging Fire, Jian Wushuang's fighting strength had improved immensely. The increase in strength would be even greater if he could combine 3 sword essences. As a conservative estimate, once Jian Wushuang combined 3 sword essences, his overall strength could be increased by at least 3 times. However, it's pity during the 2 years of meditation in the Sword Tomb, even though his comprehension of those 4 sword essences was at a high level, he was unable to combine 3 sword essences. Neither sword essences of Earth nor Water Drop were combined with Fiery Wind sword essence successfully. Successfully combining them depended on more than just comprehension. What he needed was a moment of insight. If he was lucky, he could combine 3 sword essences in the next instant. However, even without combining 3 sword essences, I have absolute confidence I could defeat Bailey Qin now. My strength has improved a lot compared to 1 month ago, Jian Wushuang muttered confidently. He was different from other warriors. What he practiced was inverse cultivation. Other warriors could only gain limited improvements within 1 month, while he could greatly improve. After all, his current cultivation was only in the profound gold core realm, while Bailey Qin and the other top experts were all at the peak of the gold core realm. Just looking at his cultivation level, there was plenty of room for improvement. The 1-month deadline is near, which means the selection battle is about to start. Jian Wushuang thought. His hands were clenched tightly, and a light shined in his eyes. 10 griffins had long been prepared outside of the Dragon Palace. Jian Wushuang, Yang Zixuan, and Su Ro walked side by side towards Bailey Qin. Bailey Qin randomly picked a griffin and sat down, looking over at them as he said, "You 3 finally arrived. We were all waiting for you. Why is it just you guys here? Where are Palace Master White and the others?" Jian Wushuang said questioningly. "They have already gone to the selection battlefield. They don't have time to deal with us," Bailey Qin said jokingly. "Alright, pick a griffin and let's go." Not sure why, but the selection battlefield this time is, unexpectedly, 100 miles away from the Imperial Palace. Outside the Imperial Palace? Jian Wushuang grew suspicious. Soon after, the 10 gold core realm experts who were attending the battle on behalf of Dragon Palace left on the griffins. 100 miles away from the Imperial Palace was a huge blank field. At this moment, that blank field was already very crowded and busy. Through the internal selection battle in Tianzong Dynasty, the strongest 15 geniuses would be picked to attend the easternmost hunt. The selection battle was held every decade. Needless to say, everyone took this quite seriously. An innumerable amount of warriors was gathered in the field. Although it was not yet noon, the number must have reached over 100,000. With more than 100,000 people gathered in a blank field, what would it look like? They looked like a swarm of wasps. Fortunately, Tianzong Dynasty had a royal guard. With the royal guard in place, the battlefield was kept in good order. After all, every sergeant was at the exceptional gold core realm. The royal guard had an incredible battle strength. And the sergeants worked well together so nobody could cause trouble in front of them. If someone tried, it would only take a few sergeants to suppress them. The crowd included a large number of experts with tyrannical auras, most of which were much stronger than the exceptional gold core realm. They were experts from the earthly dragon list. Normally they would rarely appear, but during this event, experts from the earthly dragon list could be seen everywhere. At a glance, it was easy to spot more than 50 experts from the earthly dragon list. However, the warriors present were not really excited to see the normal experts of the earthly dragon list. They saw too many in this event. What attracted their sight was those top experts. That is Ouyang Haotian, right? Yes, it's him, ranked 3rd on the earthly dragon list. The man next to him is his little brother, Ouyang Haoyue. I heard that he can easily kill the experts in the Yin-Yang Void Realm. He will definitely be one of the strongest who claims one of the 15 places in this selection battle. Is that Mu Yingying from the Mu clan? She attended as well. She was originally ranked 3rd on the earthly dragon list, but is now ranked 4th. Even though she moved back 1 rank, her strength still should not be underestimated. Quite a lot of people were discussing in secret. Brother, look at how many people are watching you. Standing next to his eldest brother, Ouyang Haoyue felt proud. Well, ignore them, Ouyang Haotian said casually. I am pretty confident that I can get a spot in the selection battle. As for you, I will try my best to get a spot for you too if there is a chance. Thanks, brother, Ouyang Haoyue said excitedly. But suddenly his face turned cold and he said, Brother, I have a request. It's about Jian Wushuang. Yes, I know, Ouyang Haotian nodded and said, Don't worry, I will handle it for you. Jian Wushuang is not qualified to be my opponent. Forget Jian Wushuang, even Bailey Chen will be defeated by me this time. Nowadays only one person is qualified to be my opponent on the entire earthly dragon list. Who? Ouyang Haoyue could not help but ask. Shui Yun, Ouyang Haotian said with his eyes suddenly shrank. He is coming. A black shadow swept through the air at an amazing speed. In no time it appeared, hovering over the area. This shadow turned out to be a giant black condor carrying a robed figure. It began to float down slowly, finally landing on the platform which was temporarily built in the center of the blank field. The platform was quiet. Even though there were plenty of warriors around, nobody dared to step on it. At this moment, the figure suddenly appeared on the platform, overlooking everyone in the field with a wicked look. In an instant the entire field was in a tumult. He is Shui Yun. Yes, he is Shui Yun. He is the one who is ranking 1st on the earthly dragon list, and the well-deserved strongest beneath the Yin-Yang Void Realm. He will definitely acquire one of the 15 spots without a doubt. Seeing him, plenty warriors around were very excited. Shui Yun could be called a myth and a legend. He was a goal that almost all warriors of Tianzong dynasty were striving for. But now, this myth appeared in front of everybody, overlooking the crowd crossly with his wicked and evil eyes, with everybody was in his sight. Everybody who was in his sight could not help lowering their heads, including the experts of the earthly dragon list. No one dared to look Shui Yun in the eye. They knew the disparity between their power was quite big. The disparity was so big that they could not catch up with purely by cultivating. Brother, is he Shui Yun? There were several figures with long swords on their backs in the crowd. They were from Tianyuan sword sect. Among them was Jian Ming'er and her great master, Shui Hanxin, whom Jian Wushuang had seen before. Chapter 154, Greeting. Chapter 154, Greeting. It's him, the strongest person on the earthly dragon list, a real monster. Next to Jian Ming'er, stood a handsome man with a somewhat ethereal atmosphere. The elegant man was Ling Feng, the top genius of the Tianyuan sword sect. At the moment, Ling Feng looked dignified, staring at the demonic youth on the platform in front of him. A monster? Is he more powerful than you, senior brother? Jian Ming'er could not help asking. Junior sister, you overestimate me. I know my own ability. Although I'm ranked 41st on the earthly dragon list, I'm nothing compared to Shui Yun. I don't even know if I could take one move from him, Ling Feng said seriously. Ling Feng, don't be too humble. Shui Yun is strong but your strength is not bad. Even a few of the upper elders in the Tianyuan sword sect admire your strength. But if you really don't want to face Shui Yun, You can bypass him when the selection battle starts. Just avoid head-on collisions with him, Shui Hanxin said, standing beside him. I know. Ling Feng nodded slightly. As one of the 5 biggest sword sects in Tianyuan province, Tianyuan sword sect could be seen as first class in the Tianzong dynasty in terms of strength. It also received a recommendation for the selection battle. And the recommendation was naturally given to Ling Feng. Suddenly, many warriors standing in the area looked into the air not far away, where they saw some dark spots appear. There were 10 dark spots. It is Dragon Palace. The disciples of Dragon Palace are coming. It's the Dragon Palace that is said to be filled with exceptional geniuses. Many warriors on the field were excited again. Those 10 dark spots gradually became larger under the stares of the warriors, and then they appeared in the air above the open space. So many people, Jian Wushuang said secretly when seeing the dense crowd beneath. There are many people every time the selection battle starts, said Bailey Chin, smiling on the side. It was not his first time coming to the selection battlefield. It was just that he was only in the audience last time like the large number of warriors below. Let's go down. As soon as Bailey Chin finished his words, those 10 figures immediately jumped from the griffin at the same time. The 10 figures appeared on the ground of the open space almost at the same time. The warriors, however, who were originally around them, retreated back and made way for them. Jian Wushuang and the others slowly walked forward along the path in the crowd. All eyes were concentrated on them. Disciples of Dragon Palace were so eye-catching. After all, Dragon Palace was the holy place for cultivators in Tianzong dynasty. After all, among the 100 people on the earthly dragon list, disciples of Dragon Palace occupied a total of 17. Besides, for the 15 spots in each selection battle, Dragon Palace usually won 4 or 5. With such glorious results, it was difficult for Dragon Palace to go unnoticed. That is Bailey Chin, the second place on the earthly dragon list. Qing Tsang, Barbarian King. Qing Tsang, the Barbarian King, is the young man with a sword on his back. Jian Wushuang. Did Jian Wushuang come too? He is 10th place on the earthly dragon list. But his ranking was not earned. Haha, really? I guess there are quite a few experts on the earthly dragon list who are not convinced by his ranking. Watch, after the selection battle starts later, there will be lots of people eyeing him. Isn't he unfortunate? I couldn't agree more. Many warriors were whispering, and what most of them talked about was Jian Wushuang. That's the way it goes. Experts on the earthly dragon list were ranked using convincing battle results. But Jian Wushuang's battle results were questioned by many people. They thought he was not qualified to be ranked in the top 10. Therefore he was naturally more noticeable. Nobody noticed that on the raised platform in the center of the open space, the long-haired wicked young man, Shui Yun, also glanced at the people from Dragon Palace, with his eyes finally remaining fixed on Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, the target of the Scarlet Kill Command. He made our Blood Feather Tower fail 2 times in assassinations. And it was because of him our Blood Feather Tower suffered a huge loss. He does not look that strong. Shui Yun murmured, but suddenly he slightly tilted his mouth, revealed a touch of a strange smile. Master has personally instructed me to kill him in this selection battle without fail. Since we will meet sooner or later, I will say hello to him in advance. Thinking of this, Shui Yun immediately turned into a cloud of fog and drifted straight over. Jian Wushuang, those people around you are talking about you. They all said you do not deserve to be ranked 10th on the earthly dragon list, Bailey Chin sneered. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang also smirked and couldn't help touching his nose. But at that moment, a sudden streak of light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. He instantly raised his head, watching as a shadow drifted towards him silently. A blast of amazing killing intent had firmly locked onto him. Many people had wanted to kill Jian Wushuang during his life, but this was his first time being locked onto by such a large and astonishing killing intent. Blood Feather Tower? Jian Wushuang slightly tilted his mouth and quickly stepped out. The triple kill sword was instantly unsheathed. An unbridled sword shadow directly cut through the air with irresistible force and swept forward. Using his supreme gold core at the peak of the profound gold core realm, a power which had already reached the peak of the gold core realm instantly rushed forward. And the drifting dark shadow also directly released a black light at that moment. The sword shadow immediately collided with the black light. Suddenly, bang! The earth and the sky changed color. A terrible roar instantly exploded in the area, like a lightning bolt out of nowhere. As a large number of warriors around had not yet responded, they watched the space where the sword shadow collided with the black light directly. Two terrible forces formed a violent wind, which was like a destructive storm. It immediately swept out with an overwhelming strength. Rumble. The entire area trembled frantically. The place where Jian Wushuang and Shui Yun collided was the first to experience the blast, with dust and gravel flying out as the destructive storm expanded. Instantly, the power of the destructive storm increased. However, when the destructive storm expanded, a disaster occurred. Do you think that Jian Wushuang can get a spot this time? The two warriors in the gold core realm were standing at the side and talking casually. They were the closest to the point of collision. Suddenly there was a huge roar, followed by a blast from the destructive storm. What? The two warriors in the gold core realm were directly knocked away before they could even react. At the same time, flying gravel hit them, causing them to immediately spit blood. As for the other warriors, they also changed their facial expressions at that moment. Oh no! My God! Run quickly! What the hell is this? Chapter 155, Battle. Chapter 155, Battle? Run. A large number of warriors were crazily escaping in all directions at this moment, chased by the horrible destructive storm that was mercilessly rushing towards them, shaking heaven and earth. They did not notice the two figures that were fiercely fighting in the center of the platform until the destructive storm calmed. It's them? One is Shui Yun, the other one is Jian Wushuang. It's them? The storm was created by them. At that moment, nearly 100,000 warriors were gathered in the field, looking towards the center in terror. The sword shadow and the black light were still in contact, and a terrifying spiritual power was constantly being released, spurting sparks occasionally. Not bad, Shui Yun said, revealing an evil smile and retreating in an instant. You want to escape? Not that easy. Jian Wushuang said coldly. The moment when Shui Yun retreated, Jian Wushuang thrust toward him with his triple kill sword, instantly releasing fiery wind sword essence. The eighth move of the formless sword art. With the help of Gale, the sword light glided through the air like a fiery dragon, appearing in front of Shui Yun in a flash. With a calm look, Shui Yun used his blood-red blade to ward off the attack, instantly covering the area in darkness. Clang. With another fierce strike, the area began twisting due to failure to bear the strength. A strong gale rushed out, blowing away all the debris in the area. There was a horrid sound of thunder and the ground trembled. The constant gale and the horrible roar released by the terrifying blast shocked most of the warriors in the area. At that moment, whoosh, whoosh, two figures appeared next to Shui Yun at the same time, one left and one right. They were Yang Zixuan and Su Ro. They joined the fight with no hesitation. A saber split through the air and glided directly towards Shui Yun. At the same time, Su Ro waved her long sword. A vast sword essence of water drop was released, and the spiritual power rushed towards Shui Yun's head. Ha! Shui Yun's face turned dark. Swaying his body, he suddenly disappeared from the area. When he reappeared, he was in the center of the platform. However, as soon as he appeared there, a cold hum sound blew into Shui Yun's ear. Following the sound, a sword shadow which was cold and formidably powerful was fiercely moving towards him. With his pupils contracting, Shui Yun had to retreat again. Crack. The cold sword shadow glided directly over the several meters tall platform. In an instant, the platform was split into two pieces. Shock. The entire crowd was shocked. Seeing the two halves of the platform, many warriors could not help taking a deep breath. You guys, what are you doing? With a roar, a bunch of golden-armored sergeants approached Jian and Shui. Needless to say, these golden-armored sergeants were the royal guards who were in charge of the maintaining order here. They appeared in the center and stopped Jian Wushuang and Shui Yun. Although the royal guards appeared, they actually felt quite helpless. Normally, they would instantly suppress any battles when people messed around and made so much trouble, regardless of whether they were ordinary warriors or experts on earthly dragon list. However, this time they were. My God, are they really only in the gold core realm? Judging by the horrendous noise just now, they would not be weaker than some top experts in the Yin-Yang Void realm. They were not people who could be easily suppressed by the royal guards, who were only in the exceptional gold core realm. A random blade flash or sword essence from either of them was powerful enough to kill a whole group of them. Both of them are ranked in the top 10 on the earthly dragon list. One is obviously not just ranked 10th according to his true strength, and the other one is the indisputable first on the earthly dragon list. What are they fighting for? The sergeants were roaring in their hearts. At the same time, a large number of the surrounding warriors were scared as well. Powerful. They are too powerful. We are also experts on the earthly dragon list, but the strength disparity between them and us is too great. Too powerful, too terrifying. It's not a big deal for Shui Yun. After all, he is recognized as the strongest on the earthly dragon list, so his strength was never doubted. But why is Jian Wushuang's strength so powerful as well? Those warriors all felt it was inconceivable. Especially since many of them were still questioning why Jian Wushuang was ranked 10th just minutes ago. They believed that he was not qualified to hold that rank. But now, even though the fight with Shui Yun ended quickly, the strength Jian Wushuang released was powerful enough to shock the experts who ranked in top 10 on the earthly dragon list. Jian Wushuang? His strength is really powerful. A beautiful and smart girl was staring at Jian Wushuang with a stiffened face at that moment as well. She was Mu Yingying, who ranked 4th on the earthly dragon list. After watching this short fight, she could not look down on Jian Wushuang's strength at all. Shui Yun is a monster. I don't even have the courage to fight with him. However, Jian Wushuang actually fought with him to that extent. Even though Shui Yun did not display his utmost strength, Jian Wushuang was already very powerful. A cold-faced man carrying a saber on his waist stood in the crowd, with his eyes sparkling slightly. He was the top genius of the gladiator arena, Feng Yutian, who was ranked 5th on the earthly dragon list. Big brother, Ouyang Haoyue said, looking toward his brother. Frowning slightly, Ouyang Haoyan said, Jian Wushuang's strength is indeed very good. I might only be a little bit stronger than him. But if we fight formally, I have confidence in defeating him. Other than the experts in the top 10 ranks, even those who ranked lower were discussing this as well. Too powerful, they are too strong. Ling Feng's body was shaking with his hand clenched. The short fight between Jian Wushuang and Shui Yun completely scared him. However, he did not notice that Shui Hanxin and Jian Menger, who stood beside him, were completely baffled as well. It's him? Shui Hanxin was looking at Jian Wushuang incredulously, the same as everyone else who was present at this moment. She had met him before. One of her disciples was defeated by him 3 years ago. She was very shocked and pissed at that time. She even threatened him, saying that she would cultivate her disciple vigorously in the next 3 years, and they would get revenge 3 years later. However, 3 years had passed. She did not expect this. Jian Wushuang, he is Jian Wushuang. Jian Menger's body was shaking as well. She looked at Jian Wushuang in shock and panic. Even senior brother Ling Feng is not Shui Yun's match. How could Jian Wushuang fight with him so equally and not appear weaker than him? Jian Menger could not say a word at that moment. Meanwhile, Shui Hanxin looked towards her. After staring at each other for a few minutes, the expressions on their faces became slightly self-deprecating. Chapter 156 Diamond Cuts Diamond. Chapter 156 Diamond Cuts Diamond. The surrounding warriors were currently in discussion. Jian Wushuang in a black robe with the triple kill sword in hand. Suddenly a sword essence was released through the air. The sword essence with a billowing battle intent radiated from Jian Wushuang. The billowing battle intent caused the whole area calm down. Everyone was looking forward to what might happen next. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 figures appeared next to Jian Wushuang. They were Yang Zishuan and Su Rou. Their faces were cold, and both were staring at the demonic youth, Shui Yun, who was not far away from them. I just wanted to say hello, no need to take it so seriously. Shui Yun smiled with an evil look. Say hello? The way you guys from Blood Feather Tower saying hello is really special, Jian Wushuang sneered. Shui Yun raised his eyebrows and said, Jian Wushuang, I had never even heard of you 1 month ago. But now you are quite well known in Blood Feather Tower. More than 1 month ago you raided the Clearwater stronghold in Qingshui on your own, killing more than 100 assassins there. Even 2 purple-masked assassins were defeated, with one dying and the other one escaping. Aren't you quite efficient? Shui Yun spoke casually. While listening to what he said, many warriors in the area were shocked. He attacked the Clearwater stronghold alone? He eliminated more than 100 assassins, and even the purple-masked assassins were defeated, with one dying and the other one escaping. Purple-masked assassins? Aren't they the supreme experts in the Yin-Yang Void Realm? Jian Wushuang has such frightening battle results? Unexpected. Compared to your blood feather tower, what I did is nothing, Jian Wushuang said coldly. Shui Yun sneered non-committally. You too, a low voice sounded. The sound was from one of the royal guards who seemed to be the leader. Any hatred between you can be resolved during the coming selection battle. For now, I hope you will temporarily stop. Even if you are powerful, the royal guard will definitely suppress you. The sergeants of the royal guard in the area all looked serious. Having glanced at the royal guards who were gathering around them, Jian Wushuang lifted his head, looked toward Shui Yun and said, I will be coming for you in the selection battle. I will be waiting for you, Shui Yun spoke proudly with a slight smile. Their words immediately created a disturbance around the platform. Everybody became excited. Everybody knew that there would be an exciting and matchless battle in the selection battle. The fierce confrontation between Jian and Shui just now was only a warm-up. Several figures were gathered in the air, not far away from the platform. Some were floating and some were riding on flying beasts. At first glance there were at least 10 people. These people were all peak experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. They were the top experts from the sects, which included Palace Masters Black-White from Dragon Palace, Grey Robe from Blood Feather Tower, and one of the Hall Masters from the Gladiator Arena. Those experts saw what just happened on the platform and a few of them were in discussion. Haha, those little fellows have bad tempers. One is Shui Yun from Blood Feather Tower, and the other is Jian Wushuang from Dragon Palace. So it's not surprising that they want to fight. After all, the hatred between Jian Wushuang and Blood Feather Tower is well known. Exactly. Their fight will be a competition of diamond cutting diamond. I'm looking forward to it. Palace Masters and Mr. Grey Robe, don't you have anything to say? Both of them are disciples under your commands. These Yin-Yang Void Realm experts were talking and laughing. There is nothing to say. Jian Wushuang is the target of the Scarlet Kill command from our Blood Feather Tower. He needs to die no matter what, Grey Robe said coldly. You like to exaggerate. Be careful that you don't bite your tongue. Seems like the lesson you received 2 years was not enough. Palace Master White glanced at Grey Robe and spoke coldly. 2 years ago. With his mouth spasming, Grey Robe continued, if it wasn't for the other two forces secretly helping you 2 years ago, your Dragon Palace would not have put our Blood Feather Tower in such a situation. How ridiculous. Oh, you are just quarrelsome, said the Palace Master White sneeringly. You are the one who is quarrelsome. Just wait, that exceptional genius will die in this selection battle, Grey Robe said. Hearing this, Palace Master White's face darkened. She was a little bit worried about Jian Wushuang. That boy should just participate in the selection battle like normal. Why does he need to engage himself in a fight with Shui Yun like a fool? Shui Yun is the recognized first place on the Earthly Dragon list. His strength was already frightening 3 years ago. In addition, during the past 3 years, his strength had improvements in cultivation and other aspects. All the people in the Tianzong dynasty knew that now Shui Yun was a hardcore monster, so nobody dared to challenge him. However, Jian Wushuang was determined to fight with this monster. If he avoided Shui Yun in the selection battle, he could definitely get a place with his strength. But once he faces Shui Yun, it will be difficult for him to survive, not to mention claiming a spot. Having glanced at each other, Palace Masters White and Black were both worried. But right at that moment. Haha, it's quite lively here. A gentle and amiable voice suddenly rang out, as a golden chair appeared in the very center of the crowd of experts. On the chair sat a handsome man in a golden imperial robe. Seeing the imperial-robed man who suddenly appeared, the Yin-Yang Void Realm experts all became courteous. Greetings, Your Majesty. Greetings, Your Majesty. Many experts bowed to the imperial-robed man, included Palace Master White, Palace Master Black and Grey Robe. They stood up from their seats and gave him a courteous bow. In the entire Tianzong dynasty, only one person was qualified to be called Your Majesty. He was Di Shi, the monarch of Tianzong dynasty. Di Shi was not only the present monarch of Tianzong dynasty, but also a peak expert ranked first on the Heavenly Dragon list. He was recognized as the strongest in the Yin-Yang Void Realm in Tianzong dynasty. Regarding Crazy Knife, who shocked the entire Tianzong dynasty 100 years ago and had been ranked first on the Heavenly Dragon list for several decades, he had been removed from the Heavenly Dragon list because of his long absence. No need to be so formal, please sit as you were. As soon as Shi waved his hand lightly, the people present all sat back down. I saw the fight between those two young men. They are both very excellent, especially Shui Yun. His strength is very distinctive. He did not display his full strength, Shi said casually. The young man called Jian Wushuang is incredible as well. After all, he is only in the profound gold core realm right now. Once he achieves the exceptional gold core realm in several years, he will definitely be Shui Yun's match. It's a pity that these two outstanding young men enemies, engaged in a life and death struggle. Chapter 157 Rules. Chapter 157, Rules. When it came to this, Shi was very helpless. The easternmost hunt was extremely cruel and could even be horrifying. As a small empire, the Tianzong dynasty could only compete with those middle-sized or large empires when all 15 geniuses participating in the hunt worked together. If there were internal conflicts, then it was the same thing as going to their death. Therefore, since Jian Wushuang was filled with a hatred toward Shui Yun, only one person between them could participate in the easternmost hunt. The other would have to stop at this selection battle. It's almost time, let's start, Shi said indifferently. Upon hearing this, a golden-armored general standing beside him respectfully nodded and then left. In the open space where a large number of warriors gathered, everyone was still focused on Jian Wushuang and Shui Yun. Jian Wushuang, you have stolen the limelight, Bailey Chen walked up to Jian Wushuang and joked. He started it. Jian Wushuang shrugged. I know. Bailey Chen's expression suddenly grew dignified and said, but you must be careful with Shui Yun. That guy is rather terrifying. Terrifying? Jian Wushuang glanced at Bailey Chen. An exceptional genius ranked second on the Earthly Dragon list, actually used this word to describe a warrior at the same level. He's very terrifying, Bailey Chen said seriously. 3 years ago, I teamed up with Qing Tsang to fight against him. It resulted in a draw. But at the time he was only in the profound gold core realm. At the time he had just entered the profound gold core realm, not even at the peak level. But now, his cultivation has reached the peak of the exceptional gold core realm. Just going by his cultivation, his power has increased a lot. Let alone counting his talent, in the past 3 years, his comprehension of the essence realm must have improved tremendously. In short, he is now a downright monster. Even if it was me, I'm afraid I would not be qualified as his opponent now. I feel like that too, Qing Tsang, who had been silent the whole time, also commented in a low voice. Although I haven't fought against him in the last 3 years, the second I saw him I felt like he has reached a level I can't even touch. Oh. Jian Wushuang's pupils slightly dilated. Bailey Chen and Qing Tsang were the two people who actually fought with Shui Yun, but they were both afraid of him. Jian Wushuang was also extremely serious. He knew that Shui Yun was exceptionally strong. But he was also quite strong. 2 years ago, he nearly killed a purple-masked assassin from Blood Feather Tower. 2 years later, his strength was much greater. At this time, zoom. The general wearing a golden armor suddenly appeared in the air above the platform and an oppressive aura instantly radiated from him. For a time, the entire area was silent. All the warriors in the area, even including the experts from the Earthly Dragon list, were shuddering under the oppression of this aura. The Yang Void Realm. Jian Wushuang also flashed a trace of fear. The Yin-Yang Void Realm was divided into 2 realms, the Yin Void and the Yang Void, with the latter being stronger than the former. Each realm was divided into 4 sublevels: initial, profound, exceptional, and the peak. The 2 purple-masked assassins that Jian Wushuang encountered at the Clearwater Stronghold were all at the initial Yin Void Realm. They were the lowest among experts of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. The top 20 experts on the Earthly Dragon list were known to be able to match warriors in the Yin-Yang Void Realm. And the top 10 even possessed the strength to kill warriors in the Yin-Yang Void Realm. However, this only refers to Yin Void level of the Yin-Yang Void Realm. If it was the profound Yin Void Realm, it would be a completely different story. Like Lin Yun, the governor of Blizzard City. He was in the profound Yin Void Realm 2 years ago at Quiet Moon Lake. As for the Yang Void Realm, it was more formidable and more terrifying than the Yin Void Realm. Palace Masters White and Black from Dragon Palace and Grey Robe from Blood Feather Tower were all at the Yang Void Realm. The golden armored general who appeared at this moment was a supreme expert in the Yang Void realm. This golden armored general, suspended in the air, used his aura to silence everyone below. Then he slowly began to say, "The 68 gold core realm warriors who are participating in the selection battle should listen carefully. The location of this selection battle is in the Cloud Mountains next to you. The Cloud Mountains are made up of 15 giant mountains. At the moment there are 15 spirit beasts, one on each of the 15 mountains. The goal of this selection battle is very simple. You just have to kill any of the 15 beasts and get its core. The selection battle will last for 7 days. After 7 days, the 15 men who give me a core will pass the selection battle." The voice of this golden armored general was magnificent and echoed throughout the entire area, so all the warriors in the area heard him clearly. "Kill the spirit beasts and bring back the core?" Jian Wushuang's gaze focused slightly and his expression grew a little weird. He fought with the spirit beasts numerous times, so he was not afraid of them. What surprised him was the duration of this selection battle. The Cloud Mountains were rather small. With a group of people searching, all 15 spirit beasts could be found and killed in half a day. In other words, all 15 cores might be claimed within a day. But the selection battle would last 7 days. Before the 7th day, even if someone had a core, it would mean nothing. The cores for passing the selection battle could only be handed over to the golden armored general 7 days later. 7 days? They just want to watch us fight for 7 days. 68 warriors in the gold core realm are participating in this selection battle. However, there will only be 15 victors in 7 days. Once Jian Wushuang understood the rules of this selection battle, he smiled slightly. The voice of that golden armored general continued to echo. "In the 7-day selection battle, nobody can leave the Cloud Mountain range unless they give up. In addition, you are allowed to kill in this selection battle. That is to say, if your strength is poor, dying here could be your destiny. Similarly, as long as you have the strength, you can kill your opponents to gain the core needed to pass the selection battle. If you are attacked by the sect or experts associated with the person you killed here, our Golden Dragon Palace's experts will help you. In other words, in this selection battle, you can do anything you want. But there is one rule. During this selection battle, it is forbidden to swallow elixirs that can increase your cultivation level in a short time. Anyone who breaks this rule will be executed. As for other means, feel free to show your full strength." Hearing this, the 68 gold core realm experts that were participating in this selection battle all grew serious, barring a few people who were confident in their own strength. Obviously, this selection battle would be very cruel. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.